My best iteration was I cut one of my sister's skis down so that I could use that as a bending element, and then I got in big trouble. So
yeah,
every robot's a rat busting robot, I think.
Shit, I guess so.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. You land flat and then immediately get smashed up the other wall, and then you kind of jump for your friends. And that ruined the car. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Just Gonna Send It podcast. I'm your host, Jim Belosic. Today, we are joined by two very special guests. This is our first twofer. I'm joined by Garrett and Canon from Pipedream. Pipedream is, they're making it really, really easy to move stuff incredibly fast underground. Welcome to the show, guys. This is super cool to have you on. Tell us, introduce yourself, and then tell me a little bit more about what Pipedream is.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on. It's not very often that your favorite vendor asks you to come onto a podcast, so we're pretty stoked to be here.
Cool. I'm going to take favorite. Yeah, thank you. And
sweet. Yeah. My name is Canon Reeves. I am the CTO, co-founder of Pipedream. I've been building robots since I was like 14, and I've been in love with SendCutSend and sheet metal parts ever since we found you guys. So we order from you guys quite a lot and talk about you guys quite a lot. So super stoked to be on this.
I did a really shitty intro into what Pipedream is. Like, can you guys talk a little bit about like where you're at today? Like, what does Pipedream do? And then just give like a 2-sentence thing about like what Pipedream is going to do in the future.
Yeah, totally. So we make it super easy to move something from point A to point B. The reason that we started Pipedream was we were looking at what the future is going to be like in terms of logistics. And what we saw is that we were going to make this huge push into automated logistics. That's drones, it's self-driving cars, that's sidewalk robots, and that there needed to be kind of the fiber optic network for moving things in an automated way through cities. And that was the missing piece to making automated logistics scale as far as it could. So it's kind of through a first principles approach that we landed on doing that underground was going to be one of those most important pieces, and it was the piece that no one was building. And so we decided, you know what, that is a bet on the future. That is a bet on ultimately the bet was on what the world was going to look like in 2030 and what company could we build now that would put us in perfect position to be the biggest company we could in 2030. And underground logistics was the one that we felt like put us in that position the most.
Okay, why underground? I mean, it seems obvious now that I know you guys, but like, you're like, we'll just go under. Like, it seems hard. Like, I've tried to dig a post hole before, and it took me 6 hours because the ground here in northern Nevada sucks. Why underground? Yeah,
I think when you look at what are the modalities for autonomous delivery that exist now and could exist, you're left with the sky, a lot of drone delivery companies. We think that will be huge. Like, we fully believe in a drone future. You also have the ground. So you have self-driving cars, sidewalk robots. And we felt like each of those had their pros and cons. One of the biggest cons to me is that each of them is in this sort of like public space where they have to deal with the long tail of autonomy. A self-driving car, they've taken so many years to develop. They're finally at this like really cool point. I think drones are too. At the end of the day, they're still limited in terms of speed and safety by their surroundings and having to adapt to them. And when we thought about how do you move stuff just as fast and as cheap as possible to the point where it's like sending data where you don't even think about it, we just kind of looked at where every other utility had gone, which was underground. And it sounds like this crazy, like there's no way underground works, there's no way installing these pipes is feasible. But the more we dug into it, the more we realized that actually it's pretty feasible to put pipes in the ground. All of our cities have hundreds, if not thousands of miles of pipes running through them. Those were not there when the cities were first built. A lot of these things are retrofit like cable and fiber at one point power. And we just kind of realized that we don't have to reinvent the pipe in the way that pipes are installed. We could just go and follow industry best practices. And you see these things on the side of the road all the time. You just don't know it. They're called horizontal directional drills. And it's like, it looks like just a little tractor with these holes in it facing into the ground. So anyways, there's really mature industry for installing pipes. All we had to do was figure out how do we put rails and robots inside those pipes. And
yeah, I like the analogy to existing utilities. It's been done for hundreds, thousands of years, I guess, like the Greeks or Romans or whatever. And then you think about all the in the air drones. that's all like brand new, and I'm sure they have to fight with the ATC and laws and things crashing into people's houses. Where I guess if it's going underground, like you said, it's just like water, sewer, fiber, or whatever. To all of our listeners who are not watching this, I have to say the audio that you're getting from Canon, it's because he is joining us from inside a pipe right now. It's it's super awesome. This is like I feel like we're on location. It feels like a TBPN episode. Like we're kind of like leveling up the pod here. How big a diameter is that pipe that you're in?
Yeah, so this is kind of weird because I'm in a pipe, but it's not the pipe. This is what we call a hull. This is where the robots connect to the above ground world. So what you see, these little points where there's sunlight, that is where the robots pull up, and we have this elevator system that grabs the tow that the robots carry and brings it to the people on the above ground. The pipes that we actually use are about 2 foot in diameter. The robot is right behind Garrett. If anybody's watching, you can kind of see about the size of it.
And you mentioned that maybe we could see the robot go. Is now a good time, or?
Yeah, let me get the robot to run.
Sorry, I'm very impatient, and I can kind of see it back there, and I really want to see what happens. Can you also talk? Maybe Garrett, you could talk a little bit about use cases. Oh shit! Is it here? I can hear it going.
Yes,
dude, this is awesome. Can we, producer Dom? Can we make sure that everyone has like a visual aid on future podcasts? Like it's like show and tell. That's going to be our new requirement. This is awesome, you guys. So can you talk a little bit about like use cases? That is rad.
Yeah, it's a little loud, but there he is. He's down here.
Holy shit, that's right. What's the top speed? They haul ass, right? They're like 50 miles an hour or something?
Yeah, this guy's designed. This one goes a little bit slower just because the install is really close.
Well, and you're in there, yeah.
Yeah, I hear. But they can hit up to 100 is our goal inside your pipe.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Man. Okay, that's right.
We want to keep going. So there's a couple of things that we need to solve before we push past that. Mainly, it's the air pistoning. As you're taking up a really large cross section of the pipe. So as that robot's pushing through, it's pushing this mass head of air in front of it. And we find ways to keep moving the air around so you're not killing the performance. But our goal is to push that as high as it can go, make them as fast as possible, and kind of like to move that into use cases. If you look at like where logistics has ended up today, you're kind of in this world of there's 3 types of ways that you interface with the things that you need. One, you just order it from Amazon. Or another e-commerce player. You can kind of expect that to come to you in the next, either later that day or the next day. And it's kind of a miracle they've gotten it that fast. But when you think about that type of retail, that is your like long tail, anything I need, I'm gonna be able to get from that one, right? E-commerce, anything I want, I'm kind of assuming I'm gonna be able to get some version of that later this day or tomorrow. And then your other option is to go to a local store and pick it up. Because, stores are basically like these little warehouses that carry a smaller subsection of things that you can go get right now. And you can just go and grab it. And that can happen in the next hour. And then the third is local delivery. So, you use a human right now who will go and pick up from one of these stores and drive it to you for an extra fee. And you can get that again in the next hour. What we see is kind of like all these things should converge, especially with autonomous logistics. What autonomous logistics is going to do is drones and sidewalk robots, self-driving cars, but we really think mainly drones are going to take that third type, the local delivery, and make it really, really fast and a lot cheaper. So it's going to be something that you lean on more. I think people will be getting way more deliveries a day. From that modality. And really what we want is for everything to be available that quick. And so what needs to happen is a convergence of the e-commerce and the local retail. So instead of you only having access to what local stores carry, we want to make sure that there's this really high-speed fiber optic network that's able to take things from e-commerce, from a store that's 20 miles away, from a warehouse that's 15 miles away, and bring it close to you really quickly. so that either a drone or a self-driving car or human can bring it to you. So we kind of see retail converging from that store, local delivery, or e-commerce model into just a singular, really fast, really cheap local delivery.
Okay, got it. So like, I'm not going to necessarily have a pipe at my house that's bringing me Chick-fil-A or whatever, but I could probably have, like I'm thinking about Walmart. Here we have a massive Walmart distribution center that's millions of square feet. They have everything. And then there's a bunch of little local Walmarts. So maybe those Walmarts could be smaller, and only have like, milk and eggs or something like that. But then within a moment's notice, they get it from the distribution center that's 16 miles away. So then they have like 100 times the SKUs, but it's in a much smaller footprint. And then a drone or a dude or whatever could deliver it. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is super exciting.
Yeah. And just to kind of keep riffing on the grocery store concept, one way to think of this too is it's like, I don't know if you have a neighborhood mailbox in your neighborhood, kind of at the end of your neighborhood. You could imagine, because these can be so small, they push to the point where they're just on the edge of your neighborhood. So you just have this little, what we call portal, where you can pull up to. You can get food order your Amazon. Either you can go pick that up or somebody can bring it to you, or a drone can hand it off. But you're talking about taking a distribution center and serving that to something that is the size of the pipe that I'm sitting in. So this right here could effectively become a full-on grocery store, and you can deliver, hundreds of thousands, millions of SKUs to this tiny point.
Wild. I love this. Okay, so I'm not being a good host because I'm supposed to talk about like your origin story and how you grew up and whatever, but I'm so enamored by the products. I want to learn more, but I'm gonna switch up gears a little bit because Dom is going to yell at me here pretty quick if I don't. The goal of the podcast is to try and show people like, yes, people are doing really, really cool things right now. Like you guys are doing something that's never been done before, at a level that is like really damn near impossible to a lot of people on the outside. But you weren't always doing this. You started out somewhere. Let's start at, first of all, how did you guys meet? Like when did Pipedream start? How did you guys meet? And how did you guys decide like, yeah, this is what we're going to do? Yeah.
So I'll start. So, really, Pipedream really started. I had done a little bit of like some startups after college, just like really tiny like software stuff. I was a mechanical engineering background, but I loved business and the scale of it and how big it could get. And so when I left college, instead of getting an engineering job, I was like, I just want to go learn how to run a business as fast as possible. I'm just going to not get an engineering job, and I'm going to force myself to make money by starting little businesses. So I did that, and it was super fun. But I realized, like, you know what, instead of doing like all this little stuff, I really want to take one big swing and work on something for the next 10 years and just kind of like force myself to keep grinding on a problem over and over and over again till I get it. So I wanted to find something that I could kind of sign myself up for the next 10 years, whether it works or not, and just kind of lose myself to it. So looked at a lot of things. In autonomous logistics, I just kept coming back to like, that is the one that is most obviously going to be huge in 2030, and just something that I just love. I love logistics. I love retail. And as I was kind of looking at like, okay, where is autonomous logistics going? It became pretty clear to me that it was going to get to a point where, it's going to be so fast and cheap to get something that you're not even going to think about it. You don't even really want to own that item. You just kind of want to order it when you need it. And that you could kind of get to this point where if you could solve the return side just as easy as the receiving, you end up in a world where, a lot of the things that you're interacting with, you kind of interact with them like we do with the internet and the cloud now. So,
yeah, kind of like... You're just going to make it like, so you're not even thinking about it. It's just... Yeah, it becomes the new default. But how did you meet Canon?
Yeah, so started working on it and built a website. And it wasn't a very good website. And someone picked it up on Twitter, and they were like, whoa, this is crazy. And it blew up and it went viral. And it was getting a lot of hate, as it normally does. It was getting just blasted. And like during that day, it was all I was also like looking at, okay, I need to like bring on a first hire. And I've been through a ton of people and I couldn't find a first hire. And it's like, I was looking for someone who was head and shoulders better than me in every way. It made me like come into work just like, oh, I've got to be as good as this person. This person's inspiring me. And I just couldn't find that person. And so I'll let Canon take it over from here. But that was the point that I met Canon.
Yeah, I saw that tweet that was going viral, and I was so ready to also hate on it because the main thing that it showed was like a very, very early CAD model of what Garrett was thinking for the robot. And I was like, there's these things wrong with it. I wanted to go talk about it. And it really got my wheels spinning on the concept before I could do that. And we call it the brain worm, but there's some people that when they talk about the idea, it's almost like they can't get it out of their head. Like the next time you see them, they're like, I was thinking about what you're working on. And so I caught the brain worm right away. And instead of hating on them, I reached out. I was like, hey, this is really cool. And for background, I had just sold my last company. So I was at the acquiring company. They had a 4-day work week. It was remote. Like I had a lot of free time. And I was not planning on starting another company type soon. I was actually going to go back to school and finish school because I had dropped out. But I saw this, and that night I was supposed to go hang out with some friends, but I just couldn't get it out of my head. So I stayed up like all night and I redesigned their system. I was like, this is how I would do this, like, and approach this problem. And I sent them a video that night. But I actually was thinking about competing with them. I was like, this is really cool, but I think I could do this better. And I was not planning to go work for anybody. And but I wanted to talk to them anyways, just because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I drove down to Oklahoma City that weekend. I was in Arkansas. I met Garrett. I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to compete with this guy. He's just, I just got to go build this with him. And I mean, it was just like love at first sight, co-founders at first sight. And then we started ripping.
I love it. That's like, I mean, Twitter giveth and Twitter taketh away.
Twitter will always give you more than it takes away. Anytime we've ever gone like viral negatively, the worse it is, the better the outcome is for us. So
yeah, I love that.
It's always good.
So I'm sorry, Garrett, you were in Oklahoma?
Yeah, I was in Oklahoma City.
And then Canon, you were in Arkansas. And so where are you guys now?
We're in Austin.
You're in Austin. Okay, that's what I thought. So you go from Arkansas and you're just like, you're on Twitter and you're like, hey dude, I have this idea. And by the way, I just improved your model. Like, I'm going to come talk to you. I'm going to compete against you. And then turns out like, actually, let's be friends. What is like the first week of that look like? Are you guys, did you fall in love right away? Are you moving in together, or was it like, some figuring out some odds and ends, or did you get a job offer right away? Like, what did that look like?
Oh man, it was like one of those things where it's like, as soon as I met Canon at that launch, honestly, as soon as I saw he sent over like a loom of the design. It was just like, I got to find a way to work with this guy. I've never met someone who inspires me more, who cares about things more than I do, who like is smarter. Like, it was just, I needed to work with or for this guy.
Um,
When did the job offer come?
Pretty immediately, I think.
Yeah, it was almost like there wasn't one. Like I'm pretty sure I had, because like I had like a pretty decent golden handcuffs, and I had already like, before there was even an offer, I just knew I was going. I'd already like met with the CEO and I was like, hey man, I'm out of here. Yeah, I mean, it was almost like we never talked about me being hired. It was just like, yeah, we're just going to do this together.
Okay, so there's some valuable lessons to our listeners here. First of all, if you want to get hired somewhere, this is how you do it. You don't send in a bullshit resume, or you don't hit like auto apply on Indeed. And you put in the time, you send a loom of a good design, and you're like, hey man, here's actually how I would do it. Lesson number 2 is you just show up and you say, I work here now. We actually had Brian Wolf did that. Our VP of operations, he just started working, and I was like, well, shit, I guess he works here now. We should figure out how to pay him. Okay, let's go back in history a little bit. Garrett, I'll start with you. So before this, you said, okay, you graduated college and you were doing some like SaaS type companies or something. How about before that? Like, let's talk about early days. Are you like a Legos kid? Are you outdoorsy? Like what does super young Garrett look like?
Man, I just like, growing up, I always loved making things and finding a way to turn it into a business. I didn't really even come from like an entrepreneurial background. My parents were like very supportive of it, but they weren't like, they were big makers, but they weren't necessarily very entrepreneurial.
But you're trying to make money, so you're trying to build things in order to sell them, like even at an early age.
Yeah, I don't even know why. I just loved it. I just love that. Like, I love games. End of the day, I love any game where any game that's really, really, really hard, and then you get like a score at the end. And I think that's what like attracted me to business. Is just like I love the like how difficult and hard it is, and how much fun it is to get a win.
I love that. I always tell people I'm not competitive because when I think of competition, I'm usually thinking of sports, and I don't do sports. But I am incredibly competitive at the game of business. And I actually haven't really thought about it as a game. I thought about it as a puzzle, but it really is a game, and you are constantly getting a score. You know, I love how you're thinking about it. Now, I know my motivations as a young entrepreneur, you know, selling candy on the bus or whatever, I always needed money. And so that evolved my businesses into like different like money-making schemes, I guess. You said you weren't money motivated though, like as a little kid. You were just like doing it for the game, I guess.
Yeah, I think me and Canon are super similar in that way. Like, Canon, how would you describe it?
We love to win. We hate to lose. A healthy combination of both.
Yeah, but it's not like if we have like a very clear, like Pipedream's a good example. There's a very clear outcome we want with Pipedream. We want to make hyperlogistics, is what we call like that really fast upload and download of objects possible this decade. We want to scale networks into cities. And there's no amount of money that would stop us from doing that. I think that's the best way to say it. It's like we're not anti-money, but it's like it can't get in the way of the goal. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, and I think that like this journey and getting to do this is the fun for us. I just don't think either of us have ever really had a conversation about, like, man, we're going to make so much money off this. It's just like, fuck the money. This is my dream life, right? Like, what better thing could I be doing at all? We both, I've struggled with money so much more in the past. That, like, I couldn't imagine being happier than I am right now.
Yeah, that's a huge green flag, you know, as founders or as people running a company, when you want to make just enough money so that you can grow and like buy more equipment, hire more people or whatever, you tend to be more successful, or at least that's what I've seen, you know, interviewing people. When they want a boat or a beach house or something, it's some sort of grift, and then it usually falls apart. So like that's how we run SendCutSend. I want to make just enough money so I can keep buying equipment, so I can buy more metal, so I can sell it and then just keep growing it, so I can get to play, you know, and keep coming back for the game, I guess. Canon, so tell me about like your youth. Are you also like coming up with weird businesses and making a little money, or what are you doing?
I think Garrett and I are like a yin and a yang. So Garrett got an engineering degree, but was always very business focused. He's very much playing that game.
I'm not a great engineer.
He is a good engineer. He's just he's a great builder. But he cares more about the outcome of the thing than the process to make the thing, I would say. I think Garrett and I are kind of inverse. So I am a tinkerer. That was my background. It's just I was always building things, no matter what. Working on bikes or like creating crossbows. Like I was just build. Got into robotics when I was like 14. It just took over my life. Did first FRC. That was just a life changer for me. So I'm from like rural Arkansas. My mom's a school teacher. My dad's a truck driver. Like I had no idea about engineering, entrepreneurship at all. So I went into college having built a ton of robots and just being very motivated to just go be the best engineer I could be. And sort of by accident, I entered in some kind of like business competition. And when you win, you have to like create a startup to get the money. And so we won, created a startup. I was like, I got super addicted to the business side of things. And I still love making, like that's my primary driver for sure. But Garrett is a business person with a great engineering mindset. And I would say I'm an engineer with a business person's mindset. And it makes it easy to talk.
What was the business that won the competition?
Yeah, so it was Tyson Foods, the chicken company. They have these Zebra RFID scanners, and they would lose them, and they're pretty expensive. And so they wanted to make a cabinet that had an RFID reader in it. And at the end of the day, if a scanner didn't get put back in, it sends an email. We built the product, and I definitely realized that I don't love asset tracking. It's not the kind of like startup I want to start. And kind of while I was working on that, I had built a robot for my little sister to build because she was kind of the age where she was like curious about robots, and I didn't really like any of the educational robot kits out there. So I made my own, and my co-founder of that company, he entered us in a Techstars startup weekend. And so I was like, well, I have this robot. I didn't really think about it. I was like, I'll just try to start a company selling these robot kits. Like, why not? And that became the company that made me drop out of school, to my parents' chagrin. And yeah, so I was just making educational robotics kits, kind of like Lego, but it was 3D printed, used Arduino.
What was the name of the company?
More Technologies.
Okay.
Yeah, we called it the Moorbot. Yeah.
How many kits were you selling? Like, what was something you're proud of as far as like metrics or?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think. I mean, we cleared 6 figures in our last year of business, but then COVID hit. I definitely learned that just anything ed tech is a very, very hard market to sell into. I learned a lot about sales. We started, like, the first week we were in business, we were selling kits. And so we had this cycle where, oh yeah, Garrett's got the old drone. Anyways, we had this cycle where basically so that was kind of one of the things you can make. The idea was like, I like Lego, but I felt like it was a little too plug and play. The ceiling wasn't as high. I wanted to make something where the core component was 3D printed, but the structural element was like wooden dowels. So it was really easy for kids to like design their own 3D printed pieces that go on top of it. You could build really large structures for pretty cheap. And then we'd integrate all the electronics from like Arduino and Raspberry Pi. So we kind of hit with those teachers that were looking for something that's easy for a kid to pick up and have an aha moment, but then a lot of room to grow and actually start using CAD and actually start programming with Arduino.
Sorry, I can't get off the crossbow. Will you please tell me about the crossbow that you built? Because I built a couple when I was like 12, and I want to see if we were on the same wavelength.
My first material engineering love was PVC. I made about everything you could with PVC.
Please don't tell me that your bending element was PVC.
Oh, you bet.
Oh, jeez.
we'd make bows. We'd like, my dad would come back with the planks. They put them between pipes that they haul up trucks, and so I would turn those into crossbows. Yeah,
this is terrifying. Yeah, I think my best iteration was I cut one of my sister's skis down so that I could use that as a bending element, and then I got in big trouble. So
yeah.
Garrett, back to you. As you mentioned that you were starting these little businesses and selling stuff in order to make a little money, or just for the game of it. Like, what were those businesses, and how old were you?
Oh, it was like right out of college. So it's like 21, 22. It was just like I built like a package alert system for apartments. My favorite thing to do was I'd love to go to like a small business and just ask them if I could shadow them for a day. And I'd just sit there and kind of like watch every process and then find the one that was the most annoying. And then that night, I called it Gearathons, like a hackathon just for me. And I thought it was funny. Anyways, bad name. And then I'd stay up all night. I'd make the product on like a no code builder. Then would take it back and try to sell it to them in the morning. And it didn't always work, but sometimes it would. And then if it did, it was usually like repeatable across like other small businesses. So that was like wild. The workflow that kind of like really worked for me. And I think you could like, if you're a kid now, that model crushes. So especially with like vibe coding, I think like it's a lot more accessible.
Okay. So like, yeah, what was your hit rate? Like, if you go into 5 businesses and shadow them and then you make 5 products, like how many would you sell?
It's a good question. Maybe a third.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Now, well, unless they just felt sorry for you.
Maybe.
Like,
I don't. But
here's $1,000. Get the hell out of here, kid.
I would always sell them like the monthly, sell it for like the monthly cost, and then it was usually like repeatable, across other businesses. It wasn't like crazy, but for like living in Oklahoma, it was good money, and it meant that I could just kind of do whatever I wanted.
Yeah, that's so much smarter than what I was doing, which is shoveling snow and mowing lawns. It is recurring revenue, but yeah.
That was good. One that I had for a while. My favorite business I've ever run was a lawn mowing business, but it was predicated on kind of a freemium model. So I go up to people with long yards and I knock on their door and I say, I will mow your front yard for $5. And then I mow the front yard for $5, and then be like, I'll mow the backyard for 10 if you want me to just stay and mow for 10. And then I'd mow for 10, and they say, all right, for $15 more, I'll weed eat everything. And so I just like kept layering over and over again.
That's like Spirit Airlines. They're like, oh, do you have a bag? Do you want to use the bathroom? That's incredible. Um, for the kids listening, or I guess I shouldn't say kids. I don't know, 20 years old or whatever. That is a really cool model. Like, hey, I want to come watch your business. I'm a developer. I'm a software engineer. Let me watch your business and let me see if I can make you a product that's going to make your life easier. What did you learn that you could tell anyone listening who wants to do that? Like, what are some gotchas that they should avoid, and what are some things that really helped you win that business?
I mean, Ken's done a fair amount of this too. So I don't know if Ken, if you have any thoughts. One of the things that we learned after we started working together, there's this really niche but very, very powerful no-code app development software called Bubble. And we were both obsessed with it. We loved building with it. Because like before vibe coding, you could take an idea from like, I just had the idea to have a working prototype in like 5-10 hours. It's really the only way you could get something up that quick.
But I mean, like going to the business owner and being like, I just picture the door chime as you walk in and you're like, hi, can I watch you work? Like, what was your sales pitch?
It was basically that. Is like, I am, when you're 20 years old, what you should really be leaning on is like, I am a kid trying to learn about the world, and that will open so many, like a stupid amount of doors. And I'm so jealous. I really can't use it anymore because you could just pretty much do whatever you want under that guise. And so I'd really just go in and be like, hey, I just graduated college. I decided not to get an engineering job. I'm a mechanical engineer. They give like a little proof that like, okay, maybe I can build things. I'd show people other stuff that I built for other businesses. And I would say, I just wanted to shadow you, for today, for a couple hours, and just kind of like watch you work. And didn't always go well. Yeah. But like a lot of times they were cool with it.
No, that's amazing. I like use your youth as an advantage because you only have it for a brief amount of time. I get hundreds of emails and tweets and whatever, and people are always asking me questions. And then I have like important emails and Slacks and stuff from finance and marketing and whatever. And I ignore them all because I'm busy. But I will respond to a kid. The other day, Zeke, if you're listening, I'm sorry, I will write you back. But he's 15 years old and he's like, hey, I want to build a product. And when I saw that come through, I spent some time responding to him. And like, I don't even respond to my mom. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're listening. Like, it takes me like 3 days to write her back. But these kids who are interested, people will go out of their way to give them time and open up doors. And then, once you become 30, like doors just slam in your face. So use it while you can. Switching gears a little bit, Canon first car. That's kind of like a theme of the pod. So what was your first car? How'd you get it?
I am not a car guy, as much as I hate to say it.
Did you have a car?
I actually in high school got a moped. I bought a moped from my computer science teacher, and I was whipping around Hot Springs, Arkansas on a moped.
Hell yes. Okay, I think that's actually even better. Okay, like a moped. Okay, what was it? What kind of moped?
I mean, it was like a cheap, shitty 49cc. I could barely hit 40 if I'm going downhill.
Did it have a pull start?
I think it had a key.
Oh, that's luxury. Okay, you had a good one.
And before that, I was like a big bicycler, so I would bike all around town. Like in small town Arkansas, it's like not a big deal. So I would like bike to school since I was like 12. Not every day, but.
Okay, that's amazing. Garrett, how about you?
I just got an old Jeep. I love buying cheap cars on Craigslist. So I think I got it for $500. I saved up from my lawn mowing business. I saved up all summer and bought a 1994 Jeep Cherokee. I loved it.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I had a Cherokee. I think I had a 96 Cherokee.
Oh, really man, they're the best.
Yeah.
With the straight six, it's so easy to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, unstoppable.
They're the best.
Although it was no moped, so that's pretty legit.
What was yours?
My first car was a 1981 Honda Accord. It had 256,000 miles on it, which I believe is the distance from the Earth to the moon or something like that. And it had been handed down through 3 different generations of high school boys. And so I was the last one to drive that car. I eventually killed it because I took it off of a jump and seized the water pump and then continued to drive it while it overheated and grenaded everything. So then I resurrected that car.
What was the story on the jump? Did you build a jump for it?
No. The Nevada Department of Highways does. So in the desert, we have these big washes like these. They're dry for 99% of the year, but every once in a while, big flood comes through. So there's these big concrete things. Drops down, goes straight, and then goes back up. It's not smooth. It's not like a half pipe. So if you hit it like 70, you land flat and then immediately get smashed up the other wall, and then you kind of jump for your friends. And that ruined the car, and I loved that car. And then I resurrected it into Teslanda when I put a Tesla Model S drivetrain into it. But that is a totally different story. So, okay, this is really cool. So you guys did some cool jobs. You figured some stuff out through school, ran different companies, and then eventually a serendipitous tweet puts you guys together. You figure this out. So when was Pipedream started? Like, when did this tweet happen? What year was this?
2022?
I think 2021, like
Okay.
July 2021.
Okay, so a few years ago, you go, okay, let's do this. Where did the money come from? Did someone raise? Garrett, did you raise at that point, or did you guys raise together? What did that look like?
So I had some money saved up that kind of took us for a little bit, and then we went through Techstars. That took us for a little bit longer, and then we raised a pre-seed.
Okay, cool. And then, like, is there additional raises coming up, or like how's your burn going? Like, what's next? I ask because this is such a weird scale. You need a bunch of it before it really starts to work. So there's got to be money behind it. You know, what kind of challenges are you guys looking at?
Yeah, Jim, you're making sure that you have a customer around for a few more years, which I appreciate.
I don't care. I'll give you guys as much credit as you want. When it comes to finance will our finance team will like do a background check and try and figure out if people can pay for their net terms or not. But if you go through me, like I can get that bypassed. So I'll make sure you guys are whitelisted.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll raise here in we have a bunch of stuff that we're working on right now. So we just started our first network here in Austin. So it's we're starting with just one location, but we're seeding it with a grocery concept that we came up with. That the goal of that is to seed the network with enough volume to then scale it. And then by way of doing that, we've attracted a lot of other big companies who want to put volume on this network and future networks. So we're finalizing that right now. And then once we get all that finalized, we'll go out and raise.
Okay. So yeah, nothing attracts a customer like a customer. So,
right.
So the grocery concept, like, do you have a customer for that, or what does that look like?
Yeah, no one wanted to be first. That was the thing that we've learned the most in the last like year and a half, was that everyone was like, yeah, man, this fits our business great, but tough to imagine it actually happening. And so we were like, okay, at the end of the day, literally no one's going to bite on this to be first, but we're pretty sure that everyone wants to be second and third. And so, when you're kind of stuck between, a rock and a hard place, like, this is what I love about working with Canon, is it's just like, the answer is very clear. We needed to go be the first customer. And at first that was like daunting. And it was like, oh my gosh, no, we were a robot company. We shouldn't go start a grocery store. But as we started digging into the mechanics of how to build that business, we realized, like, this is stuff that we already kind of do. We love serving a customer, we love marketing, and the back of house is kind of this known operation. And so, we have the mechanical piece of building this operation. We just have to go build the back of house and the marketing engine to go do it. And if we do that, then we can go build these networks off the back of that business by itself. And it makes working with other customers so much easier. As we've gotten into some pretty big negotiations with companies that are way, way bigger than us on pricing. And our theory with opening the store was that if we could open the store and grow the network with that volume, then in these negotiations, we have the ability to walk away because we're going to go build these networks either way. And that, ability to walk away will help like even out some power that those bigger companies would have over us in terms of pricing negotiation.
Yeah,
and that's definitely turned out to be true.
It's a really shitty time to raise when you're desperate and you can't walk away. That's terrible. I love the idea of you being your own customer too. I mean, the learnings from day one it's one thing, you're like, oh, we're a robotics company, but then when you actually try and use your own product, I don't know if there's any better way to find out like what's good and what's bad about it.
Absolutely. And when you think about it, customers are going to be getting things for pipes. And so we put almost as much effort as we do into the underground, into the above ground, into making that a delightful experience. If you've ever used like a package locker, it just kind of sucks if you're at like an apartment. So like we've spent a lot of time making these magical above ground experiences, and we can kind of get it to instant pickup. But basically we, over the past few years, have sold a parking lot size version of our system. So it's all the same components, just instead of citywide, it's parking lot wide. And our thinking was that this would get us the revenue we needed and develop the relationships we needed to go do the citywide thing. But what we found is like a lot of companies have a harder time integrating this technology, and even just things as simple as integrating into the app. And we just realized like if we're going to have this experience where people get things from a pipe, we should be the best at that, and we should have a brand that makes it the easiest. And at the end of the day, if we build this whole network, we were going to put a fulfillment center on it anyways to do something like fulfilled by Amazon, but just for things on the goods network or Pipedream network. So we decided, let's go ahead and start it.
Okay, that's cool. To anyone listening, like SendCutSend exists because I was a customer and I needed stuff. And I keep hearing about startups where they have a really good idea and they build all the infrastructure, but then they will never be a customer of their own thing. And I think I don't know, there's just a step missing there. So hearing that you guys are your own customers is really important. I think that's another green flag for why I think you guys are just going to kick ass. Let's get into the robot side a little bit. Like, can you tell me about like how it's powered and, battery life and how fast it can go? All right, I guess we talked, almost 100 miles an hour, but what else should we know about the robot itself?
Yeah, when we think about Pipedream, it really is an entire system. And before the system existed, there's like a million varieties that you can do. So we started out by saying the metric that matters the most is the lowest linear cost per pipe possible. We want it to be as cheap as possible to install this. So that means as small as pipe as you can get away with, as little infrastructure in that pipe as possible. And so we started by just making the robot drive on the pipe. And the robot had like wheels in every direction. It went right in the middle. We had some versions where the wheels were on like swerve drives, so they could kind of like orient itself in the pipe. And this works. But what we found is when you need to do all the other functions like turns or docking and being loaded and unloaded, it was really hard to do that if you're inside a pipe. Like right next to me here is where the elevator grabs the thing from the robot. If the robot was just fully inside of a pipe, you couldn't bring the tote and the package out. So we started by saying, okay, there needs to be some kind of rail in this. How do we design that? We can kind of get into that a little bit. But after the rail, we realized we needed a really easy, standardized way to move cargo in and out of the robot. And if you're trying to manipulate like the actual packaging that somebody puts in there, it's just going to be, there's infinite number of variations. You need something super standardized, almost like a shipping container, but for smaller orders. And so we looked at what do people use? It's typically totes. So we got some totes. The one we kind of landed on, we started with a 12-inch pipe. We then moved to 18-inch and then finally 24-inch. But we use the same totes that Walmart uses for their grocery pickup. So it's kind of sized perfectly for grocery items. You can fit a surprising amount of stuff inside of it. Everything's like high 90% of what you would get on Amazon and Walmart and just the typical stuff to buy. Okay,
that's awesome. Yeah. When we started, we were like, okay, we need totes, but what size should we get? And we just grabbed, we ended up on the TSA tote. Like at that time, it was like the official one size TSA tote, mostly because they were making them by the millions or whatever, and they were cheap. But we're like, I think it'll actually fit. But it turns out like the TSA tote is pretty close to like the Walmart tote or the Amazon tote too. The Amazon ones just have a little bit taller wall. I like what you said though. Like the robot is not the robot. It's the robot is the thing that we're seeing move, and it's really cool. But the true system is like, it's the elevator, it's the rail, it's all these other things that you have to think about. What were some like whoopses or yeah, what were your raccoons in the ceiling? What did you discover? Like any fires or explosions or things going off the rails, literally?
Yes, so many times. Yeah, we did our first install in Street Corners, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. We actually installed almost 3/4 of a mile of pipe in the public right of way. So it's kind of like a trial by fire. We're just like, it was our first install.
Yeah, we installed
went into it.
Construction started before the system was even close to done. Yeah, because we were just trying to we needed to move as fast. Like, people really did not believe we could do this. We were like, we have to force this into existence as fast as possible.
That is ballsy. Okay, 3/4 mile as your first installation.
Yeah, and so we do that, and we learn about water. We knew about water. We had planned for water, but water always finds a way. It's like life. And yeah, we had a couple instances where some things got installed wrong for whatever reason, and water gets in. And then you have to figure out how to get water out, and maybe a robot gets stuck. So some of the fun stuff in the early days, I mean, we installed this before the rail was designed. We installed this before the robots were done. We just knew we were going to need this pipe. We're going to make a system that works. So anyways, yeah, we had a couple of robots get stuck, really small things. Like, there's a rivet that gets used to lock in the rail bracket, and like one out of the maybe 2,000 that got installed was left unpopped. And so the robot goes, it hits that. And so we had to develop a cart that allows us to crawl inside this like 18-inch diameter pipe. So you are like, you're fully constrained. You cannot move. You're on your stomach. You are like that. And we would do maintenance crawls where we'd be down there for like 30 minutes. It was crazy. It was super crazy.
Okay, wait, oh no. If you're like this, how are you crawling? Just like this? Like little bits?
Yeah. You literally could not bring your arm in. Like, you had to keep your hands out.
You have the cart with you, behind you. You could give a quick demonstration.
Okay, I'm going to give a demonstration. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
This is amazing.
This is going to be
so
incredible.
Canon designed this cart, and it's super important because the first few crawls we did without a cart, and that was a nightmare because you're just like, your rig cage is like right on top of the rails, and that was really, really tough. So he designed this cart, which kind of makes it fun. I think if you went in, you would end up loving being in the pipe.
Can we send you to Texas to go?
I was like, could this actually, is there, look at
Here he goes.
oh my God. Hell yeah. Except you're in a 24-inch tube or pipe usually, which adds to the claustrophobia. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, is there a secondary revenue stream of giving people rides?
That one probably that one has a marketing problem for sure. I don't know if there's a bunch of people who want to be caving but don't have access to a cave. So,
dude, that's absolutely wild. One of the things that I love is that you guys just did what I always say. It's jump off the cliff, build your wings on the way down. Like, hey, first one, screw it. We're doing 3/4 mile. We're going to learn all kinds of shit. You could have planned for 2 years, and eventually you discover water or something like that, and you're planning, and you're like, oh yeah, we should account for that. Or 2 years, you're like, oh, we need to do better, QA on our rivets or something like that. Or you just do it, and you compress that time into one install, and all of a sudden you have 10 years of knowledge, within a month or whatever. That's wild. I'm really, really impressed. What's the longest crawl distance that you've had to do for maintenance?
One of the water incidences. So when you're installing these things, we have access faults periodically throughout the pipe. And what we should have done, and it's so obvious in hindsight as these go, we did not put those at the lowest points. So the pipe kind of snakes. It follows the road right away in the elevation. The rail follows it as well. But so does water. And so we had these low points in the pipe that were inaccessible. In future installs, you always have a vault that's at a low point. with the pump, and you have a water system. You just kind of plan on water getting in. You do a lot more to make sure it doesn't, but you just plan on it. So anyways, water had gotten in. There was this huge rainstorm. It had like flooded over the bowl and then gone into the pipe. So there was a low point of water, and we had to crawl down in there with a pump and put in that water, pump it out. And then we had to crawl back, and it left some mud. And so I crawled in, and I mean, I was in there for like almost an hour, just like hundreds of feet, just with a rag, just cleaning every little thing. We made a cleaning robot after that. But
really? Okay, so you have like a maintenance robot, a cleaning robot. You have it's almost like if you were a railway, like, because they have all those weird robots to maintain track and stuff, or not robots, but engines or whatever.
Yeah, that's like one of the most fun parts to us is like once you have a modular system, you can extend it super easily. So creating maintenance carts or creating like what the robot does is there's like a pressure washer on a spiral. And so it just like spins and it does like a heated pressure wash and then it sucks up the water. So yeah, we made that for the 18-inch system.
You guys, this is super exciting. What's something that we should be looking forward to with Pipedream? Is there new generations of robot coming out? Are there new installations coming out? Longer networks coming out? Like what should we be watching you for?
Yeah, I think the biggest like near-term thing for us is this first node of the Austin network and the launch of our sort of like called private label grocery store goods. I'm underground, but above ground, it looks amazing. We have built, and the team has built this beautiful canopy with multiple stations where people can pull up. So starting in like a month or less, customers will be able to order groceries on our app, pull out, and within 2 minutes get their order and leave. It's going to be super special. So we're just so excited for this. We've put so much love into this. I know we're a robotics company, but we've kind of morphed into a grocery company over the last year. And it's just, I mean, it's the coolest thing. But everything post here, it feels sort of like the big, what's the term for it? There's like a term for like civilizations that we just sort of gating function. And either we are like past that gating function or we're approaching that gating function like as a society or civilization. I feel like that's the case for Pipedream, where the big gating function is, can you build a citywide network that truly connects many, many places within a city? And once you build that first citywide network, if that is successful, and we are very, we're betting everything that it will be, right? If that's successful, then you can then go and finance that model in many, many other cities. So everything about Pipedream is just getting to that first citywide. And Garrett, I'll let you take it from here on, kind of talking about that.
I mean, that's it. The whole reason we're doing a grocery store at all is to, help build out the economic model for it, show that to our customers, be able to get the financing with or without them. But what it's really done is it has attracted those customers. It has gotten them to be like, oh, wow, like we really do see the value in this system. It's clear you guys are going to go do it. Actually, we kind of want to be first now. So now that you guys are just going to be first, we'd like to actually be first. So everything about this next year is just about getting that first 10 to 20 miles in. And that's like everything we're doing is for that. So that's the next big thing next year.
Dude, that's so exciting. And it's a moat. I mean, by the time you guys get that network installed, all the learnings that you have, it's water. You'll learn about like alligators or whatever the hell lives in scary pipes. I don't know. Don't they have like rats? I don't know. You guys will have solved all those. You'll have a rat busting robot.
Every robot's a rat busting robot, I think.
Shit, I guess so.
That's why you need the cleaning robot after.
Oh God, this is incredible. Where can listeners follow you guys? Like, what's your main channels that you want them to go check out?
I think just follow me and Canon on Twitter. We have one of our only and best software engineer, McAllister Higgins, is on Twitter as well. And so the three of us are just super active on there. So
okay.
We'll give it to you to put in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put some links. Anything else that the audience should know before I say goodbye?
Yes.
Parts and you want them quick, SendCutSend.com.
Oh, yeah. Sponsored by Pipedream. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I also wanted to call out, you guys made the ring box I proposed to my girlfriend with.
Yes.
You guys see that?
And it worked.
Yeah, it totally worked. Yeah. So thank you guys. I just wanted to say thank you personally. And we love everything you guys do. So keep on doing that.
We have to do one piece of advice that you want listeners to know. And Garrett, we'll start with you. What's your one piece of advice that you want someone to walk away with?
That I think the number one decision you can make in your life is who you spend your life with romantically, like who your life partner is. That is like the number one thing to like create a happy life. And then number two is who you work with. And then if you get those two things right, working with really great people and you have a really great life partner, then that's it. That's the whole game. So that's my advice.
Shit, that's outstanding.
And I've got half of that, so I'm working on the other half. I'm just kidding.
I got both, man. And there's always like, if I was single, I could probably go a little faster and a little wilder, but I would also burn everything to the ground.
Yeah.
So having my lovely wife like keeps me balanced. And then working with great people is incredible. I couldn't do any of this by myself. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Canon, good luck. That was a good one.
Yeah, my advice is to never go second to Garrett when somebody asks for advice.
Holy shit. Yeah.
I think, like echoing along that, the third thing to me is what you choose to go in and work on every day. That is how you're going to spend the majority of your time. Garrett and I have both built a number of software products and sold them. And there's fun in that, but it's a very different itch when you go and build something in the real world. And it is super rewarding to just go and pick something that is, Pipedream is super non-consensus. There are a ton of people that think this is just the dumbest idea they've ever heard in the world. And they've told us that. Nobody is shy about that. But just like building your own personal conviction on, like, I think this is the way the world is going to be. And then just waking up every day for the next 10 years and just spending all of your effort on crafting whatever it is to make the world that way. There's just nothing more rewarding than that. I think Garrett and I are two of the luckiest people in the world. Like, this is just the most fun job. There's times where it's super hard, but it's just worth it in every single way. The pain is a lot of fun.
I always tell my kids, you're only awake for a certain amount of hours per day. So you should spend those hours doing something you love. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show. And then, check out Pipedream. Everybody go follow these guys on Twitter, and we'll talk to you soon. Now our outro will play.
Do we have an outro? Am I supposed to say something?
Can you say, like, thanks for listening? Love to have your feedback. Find us on Insta and YouTube at SendCutSend.
Can we just use that?
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at justgonnasendit@sendcutsend.com or find us on socials at SendCutSend at Jim Bolosic. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and share with your friends. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.